again. We are going to take a look at how to make your home beautiful. Last week we talked about 7 ways to bring an old world elegance into your home, and you guys were very enthusiastic. The comments were fantastic. There was one in particular though that I feel like we could go a lot deeper on this week, and it's number 7. That one was focused on taking your everyday items and putting them in containers. So anything that's plastic or brightly colored or just looks super modern. So cell phone chargers and things. We need to find a way to hide them creatively. So in baskets or crocks or glass jars, some way to make them look like they're part of our story as we're creating English cottages and, you know, French chateaus that we're all chasing after in this group. And so let's take a look at that number 7 one today. I'm going to take you into a few spaces that actually historically have been really messy and really bad. I mean, the problem with having messy spaces is they get disrespected even more. There's probably a whole life lesson there, but you leave clutter without focusing on it and dealing with it, and it is magnetic and it attracts more clutter, and your family thinks that they can just throw things in there and it doesn't matter, and it kind of doesn't matter because clearly nobody cares. So in particular, we're going to take a look at what I call my craft closet, and that used to be terrible. From floor to ceiling, terrible. And everyone would just shove things in their suitcases and scraps from different crafts they were working on and things they wanted to return. And I don't know, it was terrible. So we got it organized, and I'm gonna share the process with you because I feel like it applies to so many things. So in particular, this video is for you if you are creative, if you are artistic, if you're into DIY, or maybe you just do things, normal things, like I just wrap presents. I just want to sew a pillow once in a while. I just have ribbons and a glue gun, and they just get messy, those kinds of things. This is for you. And I also think these principles translate seamlessly into places that are really small, places that have kids, so schoolrooms and playrooms, offices. All of these kinds of places are going to be enhanced by knowing these little tricks we're going to talk about today. And as you may have noticed already, I am a stickler on organization and on decluttering, or we call it home editing in my behind the scenes group. It is a foundational principle, I think, to being a really good decorator. First of all, it clears the space and it gives you a clean palette to work with, but it also is training your mind as a decorator because you have to make a million decisions when you're decorating. So being really good at decluttering is going to benefit you across the board. One of the things that is built into my behind the scenes design group is that we declutter our entire homes, all of our homes, in 1 year. And we have a whole program that we go through. And so we focus on that. We also learn interior design and all the things that I was taught in the interior design school. And we have a Bible study. And then we have really awesome community events. And I also do design work, so design consulting with people in that group as well. So it's a really great group. I'm going to give you a link for the waitlist because we're going to be opening it again in September. And if that is something that you're like, oh gosh, this would be the perfect treat for myself that I could do every week, I hope you sign up on that list and we get to meet you in the fall. Okay, my craft room story started when I was 12, and I got my first glue gun at Fabricland. Do you remember Fabricland? I think it's still in Canada, but it's not in the US. It was mauve. I still remember it. And I had the bottom drawer in my desk, and I kept that glue gun in there, and I kept fabric and paper and ribbons and little things that I began to collect. And ever since then, ever since I was 12 years old, I have had a space that has crafting supplies. So whether you have a drawer or you have an armoire or a closet, which is where I'm at, or you have an entire room, these are the things you're gonna need to be looking for. Number one, you are going to be always on the hunt for good containers. And the good news is containers can be thrifted, and they are in antique stores everywhere you turn. You're gonna collect desk organizing pieces, and you can find these for just a couple dollars each. Just always be on the lookout, have a stash, start building this collection of really great containers. Here's some of the ones that I found for my craft closet. Let's take a look at the things that I want you to be collecting when you're out thrifting, planning to give your crafting space a makeover. You want to grab things like office supply organizers or desk organizers. So I got this at the thrift store for $5 or something. Has some drawers in it. And it was funny, there was a lady looking at it, and you know how when you see someone looking at something and then suddenly you want to buy it? It was one of those things where I was like, oh dang it, she's gonna get it. And she put it back. Okay, someone had put the drawer in the wrong spot, so it looked like we were missing a middle drawer. And I went to grab it, and she says, just so you know, she says, there's a drawer missing. Well, then I figured out that it was just assembled wrong, and there isn't supposed to be a drawer on that top area. Then a little bit farther down the aisle, I found this one that matched. So I grabbed this. You also could spray paint something that was a similar style. I love these old things. Oh, it says in. These little wooden paper organizers, and they're especially nice if they have felt on the bottom. Grab these. Now, this may surprise you, but I want you to grab wooden spools when you see these out and about. I'm going to show you what we're going to do with wooden spools. Of course, all sizes of these lidded glass jars are fabulous, and these really add to the candy store feel. Also, I want you to grab wire baskets, so that could be the locker bin type baskets or something like this. I got this in a free box at a garage sale. Whenever I say that, I get questions about what's a free box. When you're at a garage sale, a lot of times people get tired of pricing things, and it's just decision fatigue, brain overload. And so they'll just put a box out, and it's usually right by the street, and it says free, and most of it is total garbage, true. But it's always worth looking. I've found some good clothes. I've found this silver basket, bread basket. I found a Woolrich wool blanket one time. So you just never know. It's always worth checking the free box. Glass bottles. You want to get a nice collection of these. I'm going to show you what to do with glass bottles. Tin pails. I think I paid $1 for this. Originally $5 from Target. I love the wooden handles. Those are always a nice little touch. So grab some pails when you see those. And I suggest getting baskets and crates. So this one was cute. I love that it was lidded. I love that it had handles. And anytime you are working in a small space, you want to go for rectangle or square baskets so you can make the most out of squishing everything together. Round baskets are better for decorative spaces or maybe filling a corner, you know, like a tall basket. Square and rectangle are good for this project. Now the second thing that you should be looking for are labels and tags. And this is just like the frosting on the cake. If you can label things beautifully, it feels like a little storefront. You are designing this creative space like it's a candy store. And it's so fun because a lot of these things are beautiful. Glitter and ribbons and buttons. They do look like candy, and they're very colorful, and you can organize them in glass containers. So think along those lines. Think about creating a candy store. Once you have your containers and your tags that you want to work with, now it's time to figure out exactly what you're going to store. And it is important to go through your crafting supplies and decide if you still want something. We hang on to that stuff for so long thinking that eventually we're going to use it. But if it's been 10 years, I mean, if it's been even 1 year for me, I'm getting really strict at this point. If it's been even 1 year, I will, and I'm like, I don't have a vision for this. It doesn't even spark joy for me. I don't really know why I'm holding on to this, like my life depends on it. that's when I get rid of things. I keep fabric that's about 20 by 20 because I'll probably make a throw pillow. If it's smaller than that, I don't keep it. I know quilters are not going to agree with that. Those are just some guidelines. For pieces of paper, it needs to be at 8.5 by 11 in my mind if I'm going to hang on to it. And so once you've sorted those things, then you start grouping your nice piles of the things that you want to keep, and you count them. And I just so happen to have 24 groups of items. So glitter, ribbon, wrapping paper, cardstock. I had 24 different categories and groupings. And lo and behold, I had 24 containers. I did not plan it that way, but it worked out great. So then I began to start matching, okay, I'm gonna put the wrapping paper in this clothes hamper. I'm gonna pour the glitter into the jars, and so on and so on. And I started matching all of the items with a container. And that brings me to the final look. So we're gonna go in and I'm gonna give you a little tour of that space. So here we are. We have this walk-in closet down at the end of the hall. I love that we have a window in it. That is what you find in old houses that didn't have electricity when they were built. So we have windows everywhere. I love to use the backs of doors. You can use a shoe hanger and store things in here. And then this is just an overview of what it looks like. It's not that big, but I do love it. I put some wallpaper in it a couple years back, and this one side is all shelves, and then I am using the walls as well, which we'll look at. Okay, I just want to really hone in here on what I have on this top shelf. Yeah, let's not look at my wallpaper job there. I ran out in the middle of this or at the end of this project and patched it together just to get through it. The first thing I have are my cutting supplies. So I have them in this little desktop organizer. I have special cutting pieces for ovals and circles. These are really old, but these scissors, little decorative scissors. So anytime I go to cut something, I can quickly find my X-Acto knife and get things done. Then I like to store, especially wide ribbons, in a wire basket so you can really quickly see what's going on there. I do have more ribbons than this, which you're going to see, but I think that works really well for ribbons, to put them in a wire basket. Then I have my glue guns. I just glued on one of those labels. It's not perfect, but it does do the job. I probably couldn't do this with kids, is to do a hot glue label, but my glue sticks and glue guns are in there. And then stamps and stamp pads, block printing. That's my block printing piece I have. I love this jar of letters. Everybody needs a good alphabet set. And then I just call these embellishments. I randomly will throw little trinkets in that basket for gifts, little gift toppers, and I'll hot glue them on the top of a gift. Then I would say if you had to choose one tag to have for gift wrapping, it would be these little, I think they're called luggage tags. And you can get like 100 of them for a few dollars. And then these are a little bit bigger luggage tags. I pretty much use those for gift wrapping. I have some other ones, but those are my bread and butter type of tags. I have some washi tape, some pretty Christmas ones. I printed these little duckies. You know what? I'm going to link these for you. And then these are our old labels for when we sold honey, my daughter sold honey with our bees. More little tags. So kind of basic with my tags. Then in these drawers, this is actually a piece from an old sewing machine. If you see these in antique stores, that's what they are, and I do love them. I would like more of them. And I think I paid $20, just to give you an idea, for a good price on these. So I keep my glues and glue dots and Elmer's glue and spray glue in there. Okay, more ribbons. These are my velvet ribbons, and I don't love how they look because they're on these big cardboard spools. So I keep them in a solid container. Then I have a crate. These crates you can get them for maybe $10 at Joann's if you have a coupon. The little scraps of ribbon, I like to wrap on wooden spools. I think they look beautiful. You have to pen them or tape them, but that's what I do for little pieces. And this would be something I would add to one of those gift takes. Then I have my cardstock and my vellum, and tablecloths for events are in this basket. And then I love crepe paper. It just is so vintage. I'm always collecting crepe paper. So I have that in my little bin. I love displaying glitter in jars, as you see here. And then on the wall opposite, I have gift bags, which I am really low on. I'm going to link these hooks because I think you're going to love them. So I put those really quickly in place. And then my wrapping paper is kept in this, it's actually a DIY clothes hamper, which I will link that for you too. I made those years ago, and the pillowcase is a king-size pillowcase. Then I wanted to show you my painting trunk. And it's not in my craft closet, but it's such an important part in my organization that I wanted to share with you. It's a steamer trunk. I decoupaged it to get the musty smell out of it. And then I added these magnetic knife bars, which is genius. And I hang all of my paintbrushes on it. So that has been really, really nice. I keep this in my living room. Then the top section has more paintbrushes, like cheaper versions, sponge brushes and things. I keep those on top because that's what I'm gonna grab first of all. And then off to the left, I have my drop cloths. Under this are more like solvents and waxes, those kinds of things are underneath the drop cloths. Then over here on the right, I have 3 of these more shallow bins. And I have them in order of how often I use them. So think about that when you are organizing. You want things to be easily accessible. Think about how needed these things are. So my top bin is all of my preparations, my prep bin. Then the next bin are actually paints, and I can fit quart size in here. And so my larger cans are kept in my laundry room. But so quart size are in there. And then the last bin is I call it my projects bin. So Mod Podge, my upholstery stuff is in here. More of the random things, my gilding stuff that I don't use every week. That stuff is in here. So hopefully that helps you organize your space a little bit, give you some ideas, because it gets crazy when you don't know, when you don't have a plan. And I do have a printable for you that you could use to help you organize with the decluttering step of this. And I will link that below for you, just to kind of walk you through the thought processes as you're decluttering. And you can have that. I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope you got some inspiration, and I will see you next week.